Ferrari has just made a decision that could change more than just its season. While many teams are still adjusting to the new 2025 regulations, Maranello has made a strategic move by getting ahead of everyone else. Why is Dino Beganovic, a young Swede with just a few points in F2, about to get into Charles Leclerc's SF25 during free practice for the Bahrain GP? And what does this tell us about the Red Team's new technical approach? Stay until the end, because in this video we're not only going to unravel Ferrari's plan with its rookies, but also how changes to their car could give them an advantage, or leave them out of the game. And before I tell you about the unexpected twist this could bring for Haas, I want to know your opinion. Do you think Ferrari should invest more heavily in its young driver academy? I'll read you in the comments. Ferrari has come out on top again. The first to move, the first to show his cards, and this time he's done so with a move that has much more substance than it appears. The decision to field Dino Beganovic in free practice one of the Bahrain Grand Prix is not just a strategy to comply with the FIA regulations requiring all teams to field a rookie in at least 2 sessions during the season. It's a very clear sign of the type of project Ferrari wants to build from 2025 onwards. A project that doesn't just focus on immediate performance, but also looks to the long term, consolidating an ecosystem of its own talent that constantly feeds the main team. And this is where Beganovic's name comes into its own. Dino is not an improvised nor a choice by default. He's a driver who has been part of the Ferrari Driver Academy since 2020, meaning he's been molded for 5 years under the same culture and standards that shaped Charles Leclerc, Arthur Leclerc, Robert Schwartzman, and Oliver Bearman. His career is aligned with a clear philosophy. Ferrari doesn't just want to buy talent, it wants to create it. And that, in a world like Formula One, where seconds are bought for millions, is a statement of principles that makes a difference. But the interesting thing about this move is that it comes at a very specific time, the start of the season, and not in a late session like Abu Dhabi, where many teams simply meet the requirement without expecting anything tangible. Ferrari, by doing so in Bahrain, turns it into a strategic tool. On the one hand, it tests Beganovic's ability to adapt to the pace, the technical demands, and the environment of a real F1 weekend. On the other hand, the team gains valuable data on how its car responds in different hands than those of its regular drivers. It's a double benefit: driver development and technical feedback from the car. Furthermore, it must be understood that this decision is not made in a vacuum. Dino Beganovic is in his first full year in Formula 2 with the high-tech Grand Prix team. And although his results don't yet reflect clear dominance, he sits 15th in the Drivers' Championship. Ferrari has chosen to trust his potential. Why? Because they've known him for years. Because they've seen him grow. Because they understand that beyond immediate results, there's a maturation process underway. In fact, he's already shown signs of mental strength by finishing 14th in the first sprint race of the season in Melbourne, a demanding track with tricky conditions. Although the main race was cancelled due to weather, his previous performance already sent a clear message: he can handle the pressure. What's also crucial is what this decision communicates externally. In a paddock where young driver academies sometimes seem for show, Ferrari shows that its academies have a real purpose. It's not marketing, it's a living structure that trains, tests, and develops drivers. And doing it with Beganovic now, when the memory of Bearman is still fresh, has a powerful interpretation. Ferrari won't depend on chance or external circumstances. If a rookie loses his status due to too many races, as happened to Bearman, another is ready to step in. There's no improvisation, there's planning. And it's precisely this approach that's beginning to differentiate Ferrari at the start of the season. Because while some teams obsess over finding the fastest 10th on the track, Maranello seems to have understood that sometimes the true competitive advantage lies in building from within. In investing in young talent when it's not yet profitable, in preparing their future drivers so they not only know how to drive a car, but also how to behave within the Ferrari ecosystem. And that's where Beganovic's case transcends the anecdotal. It's not just about seeing a rookie perform in a session. It's about seeing Ferrari execute a bigger, deeper, more ambitious strategy. And the question this move leaves us with is unavoidable. If this is just the first step in its plan for 2025, what else does Ferrari have up its sleeve? What happened with Oliver Bearman is one of those situations that seem minor, almost technical, but that upon closer analysis reveal the cracks and, at the same time, the strategic agility of a team like Ferrari. Bearman, one of the most promising talents at the Maranello Academy, was destined to be one of the key pieces in the team's rookie development strategy for 2025. His profile had it all: pure talent, quick adaptation, recent experience in F2, and even a firm foothold in F1. But then the blow came. His rookie status vanished after having participated in more than 2 Grands Prix without being a regular driver. And that, under current FIA regulations, automatically leaves him out of the mandatory rookie sessions. A minor mistake, but with enormous consequences. This unexpected turn of events forced Ferrari to rethink a fundamental part of its annual planning on the fly. The most interesting thing is not that the team lost a rookie in regulatory terms, but rather all the cascading consequences that this entails. The alteration of the testing schedule, the reconfiguration of the filming schedule, and the redirection of opportunities that had already been planned months in advance. And this is where Ferrari's adaptability, which has often been underestimated by its detractors, comes into play. Because far from playing the victim over the loss of Behrman in this context, Ferrari reacts quickly, decisively, and above all, with foresight. The Behrman case also exposes a very real tension within the world of modern F1. The conflict between the driver's sporting development and the team's immediate interests. When Behrman was called upon to fill in for specific races, the priority was the result. And while this gave him invaluable on-track experience, it also cost him access to sessions that could have been key to his technical growth. It's the classic bread for today, hunger for tomorrow dilemma. But Ferrari, having accepted the consequences of this move, isn't standing still. It's redirecting its resources. It's starting to look more closely at other talents in its stable and deciding to accelerate processes that were perhaps planned for the second half of the year. And here Dino Beganovic reemerges. Not as a patch, not as an emergency replacement, but as an option already considered, simply brought forward. The loss of Behrman hasn't weakened Ferrari. On the contrary, it has forced the team to further diversify its talent portfolio. Because if this situation makes anything clear, it's that in Formula One, relying on a single young talent is too risky a bet. Ferrari seems to have understood this better than anyone and is therefore building a solid, well-integrated support network with real potential to step into the car when circumstances demand it. Furthermore, Behrman's situation has impacted another key player in this equation, Haas. The American team, historically linked to Ferrari, relied on Behrman as part of its testing and development program. With the impossibility of using him as a rookie, Haas is also forced to adjust its strategy. And this further reinforces the importance of Ferrari's role as a supplier, not only of engines but also of talent. A mistake in Maranello directly affects its allies, and that forces the team to be doubly rigorous, doubly precise. All of this leads us to an inevitable conclusion. Ferrari isn't just training drivers, it's training scenarios. The technical disqualification of a rookie, the loss of opportunities, rule restrictions, alliances with satellite teams. They're all part of a complex ecosystem, where mistakes aren't always avoidable, but they are manageable. And what distinguishes a truly competitive team is its ability to turn these setbacks into catalysts for change. So what many saw as a simple Behrman can no longer run in free practice 1 is actually a turning point. It's the moment Ferrari shows it's no longer the team that improvises at the last minute, but one with layers and layers of strategy, ready to turn the wheel in the midst of a storm without losing its way. Will this mentality finally bring them back to the title? It's still too early to tell. But one thing is clear. In 2025, Ferrari isn't getting caught up in the past. It's building its future race by race. What Ferrari is doing with the SF25 isn't a simple evolution. It's a complete redesign of its mindset as a construction team. For years, Ferrari has been accused of having a conservative attitude in the development of its cars. Lightweight iterations, safe bets, and limited changes from one season to the next. But 2025 marks a complete break with that paradigm. With the arrival of Loic Serra as its new technical director, Ferrari has embarked on a radical transformation that goes far beyond the visible components. Serra made it clear from day one, the SF25 is practically a new car, even though at first glance it appears to be an evolution of the SF24. And these aren't just empty words. This change in direction is reflected in every layer of the car. One of the most striking changes, at least from a technical perspective, is the adoption of a pull rod front suspension system, replacing the previous pushrod system. This modification, which may seem minor at a visual level, has profound implications for the vehicle's dynamics. The pull rod allows for greater aerodynamic efficiency at the front by lowering the center of mass of the components and freeing up space in the airflow channels. This not only improves cornering but also opens up a completely new development window for the rest of the car, especially on high-load circuits like Singapore or Monaco. But as Serra himself said, this suspension is just the tip of the iceberg. The SF25's true revolution lies beneath the skin. The car has been 95% redesigned, meaning virtually no major component has been recycled. From the geometry of the radiators to the layout of the cooling system, Ferrari has rethought every aspect in pursuit of two things: total efficiency and continuous adaptability. This is the big difference from previous years. The SF25 was not conceived as a definitive solution, but as a living platform designed to constantly evolve throughout the championship. And this is crucial in a championship as tight as the 2025 one, where Red Bull remains the benchmark, McLaren has made a giant leap forward in tire management, and Mercedes threatens a complete comeback. Ferrari knows it can't win everything from the first race, but it can build a car that is capable of transforming, absorbing information, learning from its mistakes, and adapting in real time. That's the philosophy of the SF25, a car that doesn't have a final shape, but rather a defined growth path from the wind tunnel to the asphalt. What's most interesting is how this technical mindset connects with the human strategy we saw in the previous sections. Integrating rookies like Dino Beganovic into this environment of continuous improvement is no accident. It's part of the same approach. Ferrari is creating a live laboratory where both the car and the drivers are constantly learning, where practice sessions aren't just lap sessions, but key moments for collecting data that impact the next evolution of the car. And if the feedback comes from a young talent who is experiencing the SF25 for the first time, even better. Because it allows us to validate not only the car's adaptability but also its ease of interpretation for different driving styles. Another key point is that Ferrari is no longer afraid of risk. The mistakes made at the Chinese GP, with a double disqualification for basic technical issues such as table wear and minimum weight, far from hindering this new approach, reinforce it. They demonstrate that the team is willing to push the limits of the regulations, to test new configurations, and to force learning in every scenario. This is a Ferrari that understands that error is part of the evolutionary process, that excellence is not achieved from comfort, but from the edge of the comfort zone. Thus, the SF25 isn't just a racing car. It's a symbol of a larger transformation, a Ferrari no longer afraid of breaking its own mold, a Ferrari that accepts that to return to the top, it's necessary to stop looking to the past and start experimenting with the future. A future that won't come from a single major mid-season update, but from a constant accumulation of improvements. Race by race, session by session, meter by meter. Because in today's Formula One, the one who evolves the fastest wins. And Ferrari seems to have learned that lesson. Finally, we saw how the inclusion of a rookie like Beganovic isn't just a rule, but a strategic move that can make a difference not only in the present, but also in building the team's future. Ferrari isn't putting Dino on track just to comply with a protocol. It's using him as part of a testing system, as a performance thermometer, as validation of its new technical approach. And that says much more about its vision than any press release. We also analyzed the Behrman case, which, beyond the regulatory technicalities, exposed the fragility that long-term plans can have if they are not managed precisely. But the important thing here is not that Ferrari made a mistake, but how it reacted. Instead of lamenting the loss of an eligible rookie, they restructured their strategy in real time, promoted other talent, and, in the process, demonstrated that their driver academy is not a facade, but a true support and development system. And of course, we delve into the essence of the SF25, that single-seater that represents not only a technical redesign, but a philosophical redesign of what Ferrari wants to be in this new era of Formula One. A car not defined by its first races, but by its ability to adapt. A project not looking for a stroke of luck, but a sustained path of evolution. The big question that remains is Ferrari finally on the right path? Is this the season in which we'll stop talking about unfulfilled potential and start seeing concrete, consistent, and, above all, sustainable results? The pieces are on the table. A car with a new architecture, a generation of young drivers inspired by Ferrari from their early days, and a management team that seems to have understood that in this modern Formula One, it's not the one who reacts the fastest who wins, but the one who builds the best. Leave me your opinion in the comments. Do you trust this new Ferrari philosophy? Are you convinced by what they're doing with their driver academy? And if you're interested in continuing to explore this type of in-depth analysis, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because in our next video, we'll dive right into the Shanghai drama, Hamilton's disqualification, Vasseur's fury, and what could be a technical rift within Ferrari. Don't miss it, because what's happening this year in Formula One could change everything.